Thank you, everybody. It's really a blessing and privilege to be here, and thank you to the OIS committee and to everybody that's here. It's always pretty awe-inspiring to see the amazing science you guys are doing to push our field forward. So my name is George Magrath. I'm going to talk to you about Ocuphire today. And really, I'm going to talk to you about how we're progressing Ocuphire in what is a new direction, right? And so I've been here for about a month now, and the reason I came to Ocuphire after we transacted Lexitas, we looked around, and really it was the confluence of three things that are critically important to success, which is a great team that can execute, and I'll show you what our team's done. The second is good science, right, and a massive indication. What is the biggest indication left in retina? And the third is a clear mission, right, and a clear goal that we're going after. And so really the goal to start with is that we are now a small molecule therapy company for retinal disorders. So you guys know the success of the team that we had when Ocuphire went public in 2020 with a refractive asset. So we went with phentolamine, which is now Rezumvi. And in 2021, the team can execute, right? 5 studies in a year. And they went from 2020 to 2022 to submit an NDA, right? This is a team, it's a small team, but it's a team that knows how to execute. They also know how to transact, because after the approval of Rezumvi, or really a little bit before the approval of Rezumvi, we were able to partner with our friends at Viatris, who have built a remarkable team around ophthalmology, and we really are grateful for their involvement in our field and their commitment to our field, not just with Rezumvi, but with multiple products that they have. And Jeff and his team are just doing a fantastic job. And so we were really at a position where we no longer had an anterior segment asset. And as an ophthalmologist who specializes in ocular oncology and medical retina, that was appealing to me. So it's a good pivot, right? And so as we pivot into retina, we really are focused on the REF1 pathway. And we have 3 assets. We have one asset that's an oral agent, that's APX3330, that I'll talk to you more about, because this is what we're really focused on right now. This asset just finished its end of phase 2 meeting with the FDA, and it was very successful. And so we're progressing to phase 3 pretty rapidly with this. We also have 09 and 014, which are local deliveries of REF1 inhibitors. And so we have more coming with a very focused mission to target REF1 in retinal disorders. And that's important because diabetic retinopathy is really the largest remaining indication in retina that really isn't addressed very well right now, as you guys know. There are a lot of patients, and right now what we do is we really watch these patients until they develop vision-threatening or vision-compromising complications. They progress on to PDR, they progress on to DME, they progress on to tractional retinal detachments, vitreous hemorrhages, and that's what causes blindness in these patients. And it is the #1 leading cause of blindness in working-age adults. These are people that are 30s, 40s that are walking around amongst us. As a physician, the physicians in this room I know have seen a lot of this, and all of us have probably been touched by somebody who's suffered from diabetic eye disease. Now, diabetic retinopathy, and what we're doing is really trying to treat these patients before they develop vision-threatening disease, right? It's analogous to our friends in internal medicine, right? They would never imagine not treating high blood pressure or high cholesterol and waiting until after you've had a stroke or heart attack and then trying to get function back. That's essentially what we're forced to do right now. And fortunately, we have great treatments with intravitreal injections and vitrectomy and different options for patients, but we really do watch them until they've lost vision, and then we try to treat them. And so this is a massive sort of need, and I think in the next 10 years, whether it's Ocuphire or one of the other companies here that's developing this area, which there are multiple of, I think we will look back and we will be way more proactive about how we treat diabetic retinopathy. So it's a very important thing. Now, why do we care about APX, right? 3330. This is, in my mind, an amazing compound, right? So it's been studied in 12 studies. It has a safety profile that even an ophthalmologist would enjoy, right? So it seems to be very safe and well tolerated. Ref1 is a fantastic target, right? And I'll show you a little more about that in a second. And then it is the most advanced treatment, and I'll show you a little bit more about that in a second. So Ref1, so it's pretty simple, right? There's two different pathways in diabetics that cause the disease. So diabetics, the high blood sugar causes loss of the vascular integrity, which leads to ischemic changes, which leads to inflammation and angiogenesis, right? We all know that. Ref1 inhibits both of those. And so last year I was actually up here as part of Lextas talking about how our team was developing an algorithm to try to pick which patients would respond to anti-VEGF versus steroids. Well, APX does both, right? So it's a very, very interesting compound. So what did we show in our phase 2 study? And if you want more details on this, it was really presented by three of my favorite colleagues, Dr. Lowenstein, Dr. Su, and Dr. Lally at Retina Society and the other meetings this fall. But I'm going to show you some of the highlights of it, right? So what we care about are patients that are worsening. So traditionally, in diabetic eye disease, diabetic retinopathy, people have looked at two-step improvements, right? Well, we're dealing with pretty mild patients that are asymptomatic, right? So what we care about is that these patients don't progress on to vision-threatening complications, right? That's what we care about. And so that's what we showed, right? Is that fewer patients worsen by 3 or more steps on a binocular scale, right? We're an oral therapy, so we treat both eyes. And it was pretty dramatic, right? It was 14% in the placebo arm, and it was 4% in the Apex arm. So it's a pretty good risk reduction there. And it was quite remarkable for 6 months of treatment. So as you guys know, typically the endpoints are, for the phase 3, they'll be at a year. Not only did fewer patients progress on the DRSS scale, fewer patients developed PDR. And that's sort of one of the feared complications that typically leads patients down a path that is very hard to recover from if they don't get prompt treatment. So you've got the first thing. So fewer patients progressed on the scale, fewer patients developed the feared complication of PDR, and fewer patients lost vision, right? So the ultimate endpoint that we care about. So really, this is building a pretty solid case that this molecule is actually achieving what we want to do, which is slowing or preventing the progression of diabetic retinopathy, and really in a great place to treat our patients to avoid vision loss. And then the last thing is the safety profile. So the safety profile was quite favorable for this molecule, and as I said, you know, it's even an ophthalmologist or an optometrist would be comfortable for that, and I'm more than happy to be the first person to say that ophthalmologists require a very safe molecule because they don't typically prescribe orals. So where are we going next, right? So we have a very clear mission that we're going to progress this into phase 3. So we have a highly experienced team that I talked about that has executed against study after study after study and is now pointed squarely at diabetic retinopathy with the APX 3330. We've got great science, we've got a great protocol, we've got agreement with the FDA from the end of phase 2 meeting on the design, and now we're going to put in a special protocol assessment because this is the first time this has been done. And so it really is an exciting time for Ocuphire. We have a great team, we have great science, we have an important indication, and we have a clear mission. And so it really is a privilege to be here and an exciting time for Ocuphire. Thank you.